Hey, I'm Patrick Murphy-Racey, Sony Artisan of Imagery. Today I wanted to talk to you about the FE85mm 1.8 lens. I own this lens. I really like it. I own the Batis 85 made by Zeiss prior to the Sony version. I found the Batis to be a really nice lens, especially on video. There's something about the Batis that has a very nice organic feel in terms of using autofocus with face detect and now IAF for video. But I don't see a huge difference in sharpness between the two, and since the Sony version is so much less expensive than the Batis, I prefer it. One of the things I love about the 85-1.8 is it's small, and even like when you take off the lens shade, it's a really small lens. I mean, it's not a big thing. Another thing I really like about it is the fact that it has this focus hold button. Now, I don't use the focus hold button as a focus hold. I use it to, I retask that button in the software to basically zoom in to 1.5x. So basically when I'm using this on an A9 or an A7R4, I can just press that button and this becomes a 135. And if I'm using the A7R4, I got nothing but real estate to play with, and it doesn't matter because I'm still going down to a very large file size. I also love the 85-1.8 for a carry around. So like if I'm going to go to Europe or something like that, I'm going to be more apt to take the 85-1.8 Sony lens than I would the 85-1.4 G Master because it's just so bulky and heavy as compared to the 1.8. Another thing I really like about the 85-1.8 is I also use an A6600 quite a bit. In fact, that's what this video is being shot with. This is an A6600 right now. And when you pair the 85-1.8, which is obviously made for full frame, and you use it on the A6600, you get a 135mm 1.8 for $549. So it's great. And I'm going to go out on a limb here and say also that when you look at the cost of all of the various options in the prime lens offerings by Sony, in my opinion, I think the 85-1.8 is the best value. It's like you get this really, really sharp image. You get very little vignetting, just wide open. It's a dream to use. And the fact that it's only $550 is a big deal. I feel like the quality of the 85-1.8 is equal to the 35-1.8, which I love. And they pair together so well. I wish I could say good things like overall about the 28 f2 because it also pairs really well with the 85-1.8 Sony lens, but I don't feel like that lens is up to par with the rest of the Sony primes. That's a kind of a weak. Perhaps it's the weakest one. But I just think it suffers from a lot of distortion. It's plenty sharp, I guess, but it's not my preference. So I end up relegating the 28 f2 to like remote lenses for basketball and things like that, which it does great for. But the 85-1.8 overall, I really feel strongly is like the best buy. So if you've got like a setup where you've got like your trinity of lenses, whether that's the 12-24, the 24-105, and the 100-400, or if it's the 16-35 and the 24-70, the 7200, whatever it is, at some point 2.8 can get really boring, and I just like shooting wide open with fast glass. The look is better for me personally. And so if you find yourself with all the zooms you need and you're looking for something else that'll kind of snazz up your portrait work, I love the 85-1.8. It's just a great focal length. I like it so much, in fact, that I actually sold my 85-1.4 G Master. I don't own that lens anymore. Now, the reason I sold that lens is not because of the 85-1.8. It's because of the 135-1.8 G Master. So as soon as I got my little mitts on that 135 and saw the results I could get with it. I basically, in my portrait shooting, I push myself towards the 135 in all things. And sometimes because of the lack of depth, if there's not enough room to back up indoors or something like that, I will reach for the 85-1.8. But I use it as kind of a stopgap measure in between the 51.4 Zeiss and the 135 G Master lens. So, but I don't want to say anything to take away from the 85-1.8 because it's a really, really good lens. I really like it. I never feel bad pulling it out and shooting it. And I'm always surprised and happy with the results I get when I use it. The last thing I'll say is for photojournalism, when I go out and I'm going to go with, like, say 3 or 4 lenses and I'm going to work on a documentary type project, I'm really not going to take the big, heavy, fast glass. I'm going to take the 24-1.4, which is really light and small. I'm going to take the 35-1.8. I'm going to take the 55-1.8. I'm going to take the 85-1.8. So that's 4 lenses that are really ideal for working in close quarters with people doing documentary work or whatever. So I really enjoy. So if sometimes you get like tired of dragging those heavy 2.8 zooms around, and you start thinking about expanding your lens repertoire into the primes, the easiest possible entry into the fast primes in Sony is the 85-1.8. It's so inexpensive, and you get such great results with it. And it's a stop and a third faster than a 2.8 lens, so it's great. And if you're coming out of the slower zooms like the kit lenses, let's say you're using an A6000 with the 2 kit lenses. So many people have bought that combo for Christmas or whatever, received as a gift. Putting the 85-1.8 on an A6000 or an A6300 or all those cameras is a tremendous eye candy moment, because all of a sudden you're at 1.8 and you're at 135. So if you want to shoot like sports from the stands in basketball, for instance, or wrestling or karate or judo, even tennis, this is a great way to go. 135 is a great focal length for crop sensor cameras. And then also it's wonderful to shoot that lens full frame too. So if you're kind of getting into Sony slowly and money is kind of a problem and you're trying to figure out what lens to get next, it is less expensive to go into the primes first rather than the expensive 2.8 zooms. So, while you do give up versatility, you're not able to zoom anymore. Remember that with 24 megapixels on most of the cameras that Sony makes, and then even 61 megapixel on the A7R4, you can use that little feature that I talked about where you just punch into 1.5x anytime you want to, and that works great for me. So really, I see all of the focal lengths that Sony gives me in terms of primes as being double, because it's whatever they made that lens for, plus if you do the 1.5x zoom on the sensor, it's great. So I can't say enough good things about the 85-1.8. I think it is the best value overall of all the prime lenses that Sony's made so far, and it's killer. So I'd recommend it highly. And if you're interested in buying one to try it out, my friends at Bedford's Photo in Arkansas and Oklahoma would love to help you with that. And if you go to bedfords.com, you can actually get 5% off the price of the 85-1.8 or anything you want to buy from Bedford's by simply putting in the code PMR in checkout. So hopefully that'll help you. I'm also going to list an Amazon link too in case you want to buy it there. But I love to help my friends at Bedford's. They're great guys and they are very knowledgeable, and it's a real camera store, and we gotta help the real camera stores that are left. If you don't buy from Bedford's, buy the 85-1.8 from some real camera store somewhere in the country to just help everything, especially during the pandemic. This is Patrick Murphy-Racey, Sony Artisan of Imagery, saying thanks for watching once again. Appreciate you. See ya.